All right, if you both want to take yourselves off mute so that I'd be able to hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Deputy.
Okay.
Ms. Kaler, that little red, there you go. Amber, you are Amber Kaler.
Yes, sir.
All right. This is a citation issued on November 7th of this year on US 131. They're in Wayland Township, Allegan County, state of Michigan. It's a civil infraction called Too Fast for Conditions involving a traffic accident. You are here, Ms. Kaler, on this citation to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation, or two, you could admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened. Or three, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
We would like to fight the ticket.
All right. Then I'm going to ask you to go ahead and raise your right hand, same way the deputy's going to raise her right hand. Swear or affirm any testimony you give here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
All right. Ms. Kaler, it makes a lot more sense for me to start with the deputy. She has the burden to establish to me why you were issued a citation in the first place. But after that, you'll have an opportunity to either ask questions or testify on your own behalf. All right?
Yes, sir.
And with that, deputy, you want to pick up the narrative somewhere where it makes sense, explain the issuing of this citation.
Okay. On November 7th of 2023, I was dispatched to the motor vehicle crash southbound 131, just south of 129th Avenue. Upon arrival, I discovered there are 3 vehicles involved. And during the investigation, I made contact with Amber. She stated that she was driving in the left lane and a car passed her on the right and then cut her off and braked. So she braked hard, which caused her to lose control. In talking with the other drivers and witnesses, nobody else saw a vehicle cut her off. But the most important information was that the third object, or the second vehicle that she hit, which was the third object, she hit a semi, then spun out of control and hit the cable barrier and then into an Amazon van. Amazon van has cameras, dash cams, and so they were able to let me review that footage. And in that footage, it shows that there's a semi traveling in the right lane further ahead of the Amazon van, who's also in the right lane. And there's an unknown SUV that passes him on the left. And moments later, she then passes him on the left. And as the defendant is traveling, she catches up to the vehicle in front of her as they are passing the semi, which is in the right lane. It appears that she gets too close to that vehicle, and that vehicle ahead touches its brakes. And it's at that point that she slams on her brakes, spins out of control, hits the semi, bounces off the semi into the median. The Amazon van had moved into the left lane, and so he is now trying to move back away from her to avoid getting hit. As he's moving right, she then hits him as she's spinning out of control. I did proceed to write her a citation for fail to maintain control, which is the violation of the basic speed law. When I told her that, she said she wasn't speeding. She was only doing 75. At that time, I advised her the speed limit is 70 and that I could have written her for following too closely also. At this time, I have nothing further.
Ms. Kaler, what is it you'd wish to tell me?
On November 7th, I was in the left lane on the highway heading home. All of the vehicles in the right lane were large commercial vehicles, moving a little bit slower. The vehicle behind me decided I was not going fast enough for him. At the time, I was probably going about 70. He passes me in the right lane and gets back in front of me. Now, the deputy continued to state, even when we talked, that the vehicle had cut me off, but that is not what had happened or what I had said. The vehicle got back in front of me and it was okay for a minute. I realized I was only going 70. I did speed up to about 74, 75. I also did not state that I wasn't speeding. I simply said, yes, I was going about 75. I have no reason to lie about that. I told her I would tell the truth. The vehicle gradually started to slow down. I thought maybe he realized how fast he was going. And once I got kind of caught up and was about maybe a car length apart or so, the vehicle slams on its brakes. I then slam on my brakes, attempting to avoid hitting the vehicle. And I believe the backside of my car might have kind of turned out where I hit the semi with the back end of my car. My vehicle then, from the force of the semi, spun into the ditch line. I thought this was where it would stop, attempting to hit my brakes again and get it stopped. I came back out of the ditch, spinning back across. I did attempt to stop and do everything that I felt I could in order not to hit anybody else and to get back correct. The Amazon truck and me did collide a little bit. I actually did not feel it at the time, so I was not sure. I thought I might have. I ended up back on the other side. There was a woman who stated that she had seen the accident and that the same vehicle had passed her on the right side. She stopped and she let me sit with her. And she did say, and she did tell the officer, that she saw this other vehicle put on their brake lights before I put on my brakes. Slamming on your brakes in front of another vehicle, brake checking, regardless of whether that vehicle is too close or not, is reckless driving because it could cause an accident. When I spoke to the deputy about it, when she first tried to explain to me what happened in the video, she
You know, ma'am, I can let you keep going, but let me stop you. This statute, violation of basic speed law, is not accusing you of speeding. You can get this ticket going 5 miles an hour.
I know.
What it means is you're supposed to be able to have control of your vehicle so that any point in time, what you don't do is hit another vehicle, right?
Right.
So there's almost no version of what you're saying would even come close to you not getting this ticket.
Well, that's why I was still trying to explain. But
see, here's what I'm saying, is even if someone in front of you brake checks, you're supposed to be able to be driving so that you can maintain control of your vehicle. So no matter what the car in front of you is doing, you don't have an accident.
Even if,
excuse me, my name is Crystal Childs. I am Amber Taylor's mother.
And ma'am, it doesn't matter who you are. Unless you're an attorney for her, you're not a party to this case.
Okay,
so
she's only 17.
It doesn't matter. When it comes to civil infractions, she has a driver's license. So essentially, she's an adult for purposes of this hearing. But essentially, Ms. Kaler, what the deputy's explaining to you is either one of two things. First of all, nobody hit you. You hit other people, right?
yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. That's why you get the ticket. And the officer, if you don't like the name of violation of basic speed law, the officer, like she said, could very easily have given you a following too close. In other words, if you're only a car length behind the car in front of you and they hit your brakes and you're not able to stop in time so that you have an accident, that's just a different version of a ticket that you would also be found responsible on. So what I'm saying is I could let you keep talking, but there's almost nothing you could say given this scenario where you wouldn't be receiving a traffic ticket.
Okay, I understand that. It just felt a little unfair that I know it wouldn't have happened if the vehicle, it was road rage from the other vehicle. I know that they did continue to slow down in order to brake check me because they were upset that I was going too slow for them. So it just felt like a kind of a terrible situation to be in when I know it wouldn't have happened had the other vehicle not had road rage and purposely waited for me to get close.
Here's the other thing, though, that doesn't make sense to me is we're calling this road rage. So in other words, if there's only two scenarios, one is where this would be road rage. One is where the other vehicle thought you were riding their bumper. And that's why lots of people would do a brake check. But at the speeds you're going, somewhere between 70 and 75, and they're going somewhere between 70 and 75, no one's going to brake check you for that.
No.
The other thing is if they felt you're going too slow and they passed you up, the remedy for that is for them to just keep going faster than you because they thought they were going too slow. I can't imagine the world where to teach you a lesson for going too slow, they're going to brake check you. That
Well,
just
that's-
doesn't make sense.
That's why I was confused as well. I'm not sure what it was, but the vehicle did start to gradually slow down and wait until we were close. I figured maybe they realized how fast they were going and didn't realize it before, and just, were slowing down because they realized how quickly they were going. So I did not expect them to brake check me. I'm not quite sure what was going through this other person's head. They didn't stop, so it's
But
not
but
like
to
I got
be
the
clear,
opportunity to stop.
even in the most extreme version of this, where this is a complete jerk driver who brake checks you, the law is that you're supposed to be able to maintain control over your vehicle so that you are able to not have an accident regardless of them doing that.
Okay.
The problem is you then had an accident, right? Where you're hitting other cars that weren't in your lane even. So I just mean, the long story short is I don't want you to think this is accusing you of speeding. It's not.
I know.
It's accusing you of not being able to control your vehicle so that it doesn't hit another vehicle who's not doing anything wrong. So I would find you responsible on this citation, but essentially what I want to make sure you understand is you do have a right to say, I don't agree with what just happened there. I want to go ahead and take this to formal hearing. Formal hearing is in front of the district court judges involving the prosecutor's office. If you wish to do that, you have every right to do that, but you must do two things. One is you must ask for that within 7 days of today's date. This window of opportunity closes. And second, you must come in and ask for that formally in writing because you would need to post a bond. Do you understand your rights on appeal? Ms. Kaler? I'm not sure. It shows they turned their camera off, but their microphone's still on. Well, Ms. Kaler, if you don't understand your rights on appeal, you're welcome to call back. I'll explain them to you again, but I'm going to go ahead and release parties. I think we're all set here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Kaler, I don't know how far I got in explaining to you your rights on appeal before something happened and it cut off. What was the last
I
thing
didn't
you
hear
heard me say?
anything. I'm sorry.
All right. So I would find you responsible on this citation, but here's what you need to understand. You would have a right to say, hey, I don't agree with what just happened there. I wish to go to what's called formal hearing in front of the district court judges with the prosecutor's office. But to do that, you must do two things. One is you must ask for that within 7 days of today's date. That window of opportunity closes. And second, you must come in and formally ask for that because you would have to post a bond. So do you understand your rights on appeal?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now we're all set with what we needed to do here today. I'm going to go ahead and release you. If you accept that finding, you just need to call the court to make arrangements to pay that fine.
I do have a question for you, if that's okay.
Uh-huh.
If I had a problem with the way I was, like, per se, an officer had handled something or the way they had treated me, who would I talk to about that?
And that's fairly common because people want to come in and tell me about it. I'm not their boss. That's two different branches of government, judicial and executive. So what you would do is Deputy Evers was a Allegan County Sheriff. So you call the Allegan County Sheriff's Department and you just ask to speak to the sergeant for road patrol.
Okay.
So that would be like sort of the next go up the chain one. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You're all set then. Thank you.